The female CEO disguised herself as a janitor to interview newly recruited employees. She intentionally scattered trash all over the floor to observe who would proactively help clean it up. At that moment, a young man immediately stepped forward to help sweep the garbage. Meanwhile, some people, finding it too dirty, stood aside and sneered. Next, an assistant brought a cup of hot water and deliberately spilled it on the female CEO's leg. Seeing this, the young man immediately picked her up. In the process, he accidentally tore off the female CEO's mask. Staring at the stunningly beautiful janitor in his arms, the young man was astonished by the company's high cleaning standards. He had no idea that she was actually the company's CEO. Later, in the bathroom, the young man tried to use ice water to treat her burn. Accidentally, he lost his grip on the faucet and drenched the female CEO all over. Although all of this was just a test, the CEO discovered that the young man had excellent character. At this point, the aide asked the CEO if he was okay. Only then did the young man realize that the janitor was actually the CEO in disguise. Subsequently, the CEO announced that only those who picked up the trash would qualify for an interview, while the others who had merely watched would be eliminated. Afterward, the CEO officially appointed the young man as the company's administrative supervisor. However, after signing the employment contract, he snatched an important contract from the CEO's hand. It was said that this contract was worth $10 million. The young man excitedly tore up the contract. He didn't do this because he was crazy, but because in his previous job he accidentally triggered a termination system. Every time he was fired, he would receive a reward of $100,000. That very day, he shamelessly verbally abused his boss. After being fired from the company, the system immediately awarded him an electric scooter, and promised that he could win a lucky prize the next time he got fired. That is why the young man dared to tear up the CEO's contract, planning to get rich from getting fired. Unexpectedly, at that moment, the assistant suddenly rushed over, clapping his hands in delight upon seeing the torn-up contract scattered on the floor. Because the partner they were cooperating with was a shell company with no real capability, and the assistant was glad that they had not yet transferred any funds to them. In this bizarre twist of fate, the young man ended up becoming a company hero, and the CEO also cast a favorable glance in his direction. Little did anyone know that the young man had already cursed the CEO 1,000 times in his heart. After returning home, he deliberately pulled an all-night gaming session, thinking that if he were late on his first day at work, and if he were late by half a day, he would surely get fired. Sure enough, the next day he arrived at work in the afternoon, and he didn't even answer the CEO's phone calls. His colleagues all criticized him for being too arrogant, believing that he would definitely be fired. However, while his colleagues were hard at work, he was playing games in plain sight of everyone. The next second, the CEO walked over, but the young man was not scared at all. Placing his legs on the office desk right in front of the CEO thought that the young man was a genius for saving the company $10 million, and believed that the young man was deliberately testing her attitude. So, in front of everyone, she announced that the young man had recovered the loss for the company, therefore rewarding him $100,000 and giving him a week's fake leave. The young man originally thought he would be fired, but instead he received the CEO's recognition and accolades, and his colleagues showed expressions of surprise. After the CEO left, the young man was left wondering which part of the process had gone wrong, even suspecting that the CEO might be mentally unstable.